Applying for SSS and Pag-ibig loans are one of the ways most Filipinos can afford to get their homes, cars, or pay for necessities such as their school tuition. And in most Filipinos' cases, the companies they work for make sure that every month they make a contribution so that when the time comes, they can have something to rely on. However, in the case of Winston Guio, that is not what happened.
Nag-work ako before sa isang private company. Bali, ang work ko doon, HR staff ako. Isa sa member ng family namin na nagkasakit, na kailangan ko ng pera para masuportahan yung pangangailangan namin sa medical assistance ng mother ko. So, sad to say, nung nag-file ako ng medical ng loan, yun nga, na-discover ko na 3 months pa lang na nahuhulog ng previous company ko. Sad to say, yung loan ko is rejected kasi nga kulang yung months ng contribution ko. Usually, pagka medical loan, inaabot at least 1 year contribution or minsan less than or 6 months kung regular ka na. Pero kung probi ka pa lang, at least 6 months.
How do you apply for a loan? What are the requirements for a loan? What should people look out for when applying for a loan? Good evening, you are watching Legal Help Desk on the Solar News channel. This show is about making the law work for you by giving legal advice on topics that matter to you. I'm attorney Karen Jimeno.
And I'm attorney Nepomuceno. Tonight, we will discuss your legal rights on the issue of loans applications, what you need to know and do when applying for loans through SSS and other related issues.
Our guest for tonight is Ms. May Catherine Siriaco, Vice President and Officer in Charge of Lending and Asset Management Division of the Social Security System, or SSS. Good evening, and thank you for being with us tonight, Ms. May.
Good evening, Karen. Good evening, Ron.
Good evening, May.
Good evening to our televiewers.
Yes, and I'm sure a lot of our televiewers are very interested in this because there are a lot of people who like to take on loans, no?
Yes.
For some reason.
For some reason, yes.
Well, because money is really hard to come by. If
It's
you're
hard.
earning it honestly.
Yes.
That's right, that's right. It's hard, and you know, I mean...
Kasi kanina nakita ko yung na-file sa ombudsman. So that's why I'm thinking, if you're earning it honestly, mahirap.
Yes.
Mahirap talaga.
But the general perception is that it's kind of hard to borrow from the SSS, for example. Is it really difficult?
To tell you the truth, if you ask us among us here in SSS, salary loans is the fastest product that you can apply for.
Okay.
You just need to, for one thing, you have to have the number of contributions satisfied based on the number of months that your employer has paid for. And you just have to show your ID and fill up the form. Okay,
but the person we interviewed, yung lumapit with the problem, Mr. Winston, his loan was actually rejected. What was the problem in this case?
I think he had 2 problems. One is his employer probably did not remit all of the contributions required, or probably he was short of the contributions that was required, because for a 1-month loan, that's equivalent to about 50,000 maximum.
50,000 pesos maximum.
Maximum. You need to have paid at least 36 months.
36 months.
Of the contributions.
Of the monthly contributions. That's practically 3 years. No?
Yeah.
So,
for a 2-month loan of up to 30,000, you have to have at least paid 72 monthly contributions.
Okay. So if you don't meet at least 36 months, is it impossible? You can't get.
You
can't
qualify. You cannot get.
Which leads me to a question.
So kailangan 3 years ka nang employed.
Yeah.
But in the
before we leave, it may be from the same company, or if he transferred companies, at least the last 6 months he should have been with the company already.
Okay.
Right.
And in the case of Winston's, before we leave that topic,
hindi kumpleto yung details ni Winston.
Yeah, that's true. But kunwari, he was able to satisfy 36 months of contribution. Pero yung kasalanan pala ng employer niya na hindi na-remit properly.
Oh, that's a different story. That's a different story, because if there's proof that he was with the company for at least 36 months, and he can show or he can prove that there were payments made
by him,
or it was deducted from his salary, and the company did not remit the payments, then we can run after the company. Is
Okay, so
employed
he
with.
only has to tell SSS.
He has to go to SSS, file that complaint, and in fact, he doesn't even have to reveal, or we will not reveal to the company who made the complaint. So
and you're going to go. You're going to go after.
Yeah, SSS can file.
Okay.
The
And then
complaint
afterwards, can
against-
he then get the loan from SSS?
Well, for one thing, we have to settle. We have to check with the company. They have to pay up, and then we will provide them.
Now, you mentioned earlier when we were conversing that loans, we have to differentiate it from benefits. Diba? Loans
Yes.
are not really rights, but benefits
Well,
are rights.
let's
Can you
put it this
expound
way.
on that?
We normally call the loans a privilege to members, unlike the benefits that whether or not they are up to date in the payments, as long as they have completed the number of months, they will get the benefit.
Right.
For example, for the basic benefits that SSS gives, like retirement, death, that is the pension for the surviving spouse or the minor children of the member, as well as disability. If the member gets disabled, gets an accident, we will pay the benefit regardless of how recent the payments were done.
Right.
Okay? But we have short-term benefits like sickness and maternity. You were asking about the maternity earlier.
Yes.
Actually, this one you just need to have 3 months prior to the time that he had the sickness or maternity. It's like replacing the sickness or the maternity leaves of the employee.
But now the loan,
But
though.
let's go to
Okay, the
loans.
loan naman, it's
sorry.
like a privilege that normally, if that means if there are certain conditions, kasi it's like an investment of SSS. So we allow these loans to members because we think that they may be in financial
straits
or financial needs during the time that he was a member of SSS or during his employment time. So the loans were made so that it will help at least for him to tide him over to the next.
Miss May, what are the normal requirements for people to apply for a loan?
First, I will describe the loans that we have. No?
Okay.
There are 3 types of loans that we give under what we call salary loans. One is the normal salary loan, that the 1 month or the 2 month loan that I was talking about. The other one is what we call SLRP, or Salary Loan Early Renewal Program. This is
a long name.
It took over what we used to offer as calamity loans.
Oh, okay.
And we offer this to those who were affected by the typhoon or the calamity. In fact,
so if you lose, kunwari, yung car mo nasira because binaha, you can apply for this.
You need to buy
new furniture, new appliances.
So for those who have had previous loans in the past, because we require a 2-year term for them to pay, they can pay. They can make the loan and then pay off the previous loan within the 1-year period that they have made the loan. So pwede sila mag-advance.
All right.
Early availment again. Then the other one is what we call the educational assistance loan program. We started offering this a couple of years ago. The national government gave us some funds and we matched it so that we can provide educational assistance to our members.
For tuition and
for college degree and for vocational and technical school education.
So if you, for instance, want to buy a house,
Iba pa yung sa housing loan.
Meron pang
Iba pa yung
SSS
housing loan.
Iba yung requirements.
Sa housing loan, iba rin yung requirements because you have to have certain number of months to qualify for each of the loan. And then for the housing loan, you need to have other requirements for the collateral. Kasi normally
so
you ask for
you have to give a mortgage on the house that you're buying.
Yes. So you have to use your house as the collateral.
What are the common requirements na lang? Ano yung
Okay,
mga
the common requirements, of course, you have to have the number of months. No, I mentioned already salary loans. You have to have 36 for a 1-month loan, 72 for a 2-month loan. Use educational assistance, you need only 12 months.
So 1 year of basically working.
That's right. And then this is SLRP nga. We allow kasi a 2-year repayment period for our salary loans. No? So if you were hit by the typhoon, you don't need to wait until the second year is up. So after 1 year of payment, you can renew your loan already.
I see. I'm sorry, we have a few questions from our viewers now, so we'd like to ask them. We'll try to answer some of them with the help, of course, for our guest, Ms. May from SSS. From Rene, can I request how much I will contribute. Can I loan more because of my higher monthly contribution?
Well, right now the monthly contribution maximum is 15,000 a month.
Wow,
So
that's
as
pretty
much as
big.
It's big.
So that's
Because
that's at the 15,000. So that's a 1
yeah,
month
because
loan.
that means, oh wait, so if you have, magkano po yung normal contribution?
It's computed at about 10.4% of a person's basic salary, but 2/3 is shared by the employer.
Okay, so
And then
technically,
1/3 lang yung sa employee.
1/3 of 10%
Yes.
of that salary.
So what happens is, for
Kunwari,
how would you say,
10,000 yung sweldo mo,
it's 15,000
you
nga
have
yung
to
maximum
pay.
ngayon eh.
Ah,
so
okay.
it's at 1,560 is the contribution.
It's the contribution. Okay.
So 2/3 of that is paid for by the company, and then 1/3 is by the
Okay.
employee.
And then, of course, yung maximum na pwede nilang makuha is 15,000 pesos.
15,000 for a 1-month loan.
For a 1-month
And then 30,000 for a 2-month loan.
I see.
Okay.
Okay. So, but to answer his question,
Yes.
he can't just increase his monthly contribution. There's a max. Is there a max in a way
It's
of the
10%.
It's a maximum, yes.
maximum,
Yeah.
right? 10%.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
And our
Okay.
next question is from Sally. I'm planning on transferring to a new company. Is there anything I should submit to the SSS before doing so?
Okay, if they are transferring, they have to declare to their new company that they will have a previous loan from the company they're leaving. Kasi if they do not do that and then our computers recognize their name in the new company, it will be the new company that will be declared as a delinquent. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's already a loan, attributed to that person.
I see.
Okay.
So
he
there
has
to be a report.
He has to tell
And
the
it's
new-
not siya yung kailangan mag-declare sa
Oo,
SSS.
kasi
not
we have
the
no
employer.
idea
Yeah.
that
Is there a form for that? Is there a
No
form?
naman, no naman. You
need
just have to tell them so that
Okay.
SSS will build the new company
I
already.
see. All right.
And
Okay.
then
So our
we
next
have
question naman from Gladys, and she asks, what are the requirements when applying for a loan? You were asking that earlier. If it's found that I lack in submitting some documents, will I have to apply again?
Yes. Okay. I mentioned earlier that you have to fill up a form. It's just the application because it also asks the member to sort of guarantee that I will pay. I know the terms, etc. And the company also signs that because they will certify that the employee is from the company also, and then it's the company who will pay the repayments, the amortizations in behalf of the employee. And then of course
Okay.
you present your SSS ID when you apply. So that shortens up the process.
Okay.
In fact, I might as well mention also that we already offer salary loans in our website. So
you can apply
You can
by
apply.
going online.
First, you have to go enroll in our website because this enrollment process will allow the member to access his own information.
Whether
And then
up-to-date siya and
Up-to-date.
everything.
May tawag
How
nga,
many
My
payments?
SSS. So it's you enrolling, you have to...
My
so-
SSS.
because it's for security and confidentiality purposes. So if they are able to apply already, they may apply already for a loan in the...
Okay, and we have another question from Agnes.
Quite interesting.
I stopped working for a couple of years to take care of my children. Will this affect my monthly contributions in any way?
Okay. I hope she specified if she's working, because if she will continue working, she will just have to resume the payment from another company. But
Yes.
if she opts to pay on a voluntary basis, pwede kasi yun eh, na stop working and then she opts to continue paying, if only to complete the number of years for future benefits. Then she will have to continue paying the contribution
By herself.
by herself.
So, in this case, if you stop working and you don't have a new employer, kung hindi ka pa umabot, for instance, dun sa 36 months
Yes.
para makakuha ng salary loan,
Then she can
it's
pay.
advisable to continue paying
That's right.
para makumpleto
So
mo yung
that she can make a
contributions
future loan
required.
later on.
Okay.
All right.
And we have another question from Clark. I'm self-employed as a freelance writer. What documents should I submit and how much should I contribute to my SSS account? Is there such a thing as voluntary contribution? Ito yung kanina sinabi na natin.
Yes,
no?
there is a
Yes.
what we call a voluntary contribution. He can continue paying from
Do they have to
the
be
last.
paying what they were contributing before?
Ideally, we would advise yes,
Yeah.
so that the computation of the benefits
Is-
in the future will not be, decreased, no?
Right.
So, except that you have to pay both the employee and the employer
hindi
share.
ka na one-third
Hindi
share.
ka na one-third,
It's gonna be
two-third,
100%.
by the employee.
All right.
Sige, we still have a lot to discuss with our guests. Legal Help Desk will return after these reminders. You're still watching Legal Help Desk, and we are still joined by our guest, Ms. May Catherine Siriaco of SSS. So before we started the commercials, we were talking about the salary loans.
Okay.
And I'm curious, to what needs can you apply this, or what purposes?
Thank you, Karen. You know, our salary loans are the most popular product of SSS.
They're your best sellers.
Best sellers siya talaga. And we observe that there are a number of salary loans twice a year actually.
Okay.
One is when enrollment period comes.
So ginagamit pang tuition fee.
And then the other one's Christmas.
For gifts.
For some reason, there's a
well,
pattern already,
yeah.
November and I think May or April. Ganon.
No, what,
So in other words, SSS does
Yeah.
not check kung para saan yung salary loan. So you
That's
can
right.
use it for anything.
You can use it for
Medical
anything.
bills,
Yung example natin sa
bakasyon, pwede sa
Winston,
bakasyon.
Winston was using it for his for the
Medical
medical
bills
bills of
of
his
a family, no?
family.
Do they normally require a payslip or a certificate of employment for salary
Okay.
loans?
Kami naman kasi we check it against the contribution records of the employee. So the one on the payslip will only come if the records do not appear with SSS anymore.
But otherwise, if you're there, then
Otherwise,
you're
if
okay.
the
You're
records
okay.
are there, they're complete, there's no problem. I mean, for a first-time loan, for instance, and then you've been employed
Yeah.
for quite some time, that one is very fast.
Miss May, is it possible to get a salary loan and then a housing loan at the same time? Kunwari, sobrang mahal nung gusto niyang bahay na bilhin.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this person can apply for housing loan and then
That's right.
dadagdag niya na lang yung sa salary.
Pwede.
Pwede, okay. So
Pwede.
maybe you can
But
tell us more about housing
you have
loans.
to have well, for the salary loan, you have to be how would you say up to date. The housing loan, you have only at least 12 months also. But most of the time, it's not the SSS who processes the housing loan. Meaning, for instance, the only direct housing loans that SSS processes are those for OFWs and trade union, the union members.
Union members, yeah.
That are accredited with SSS.
So, for the other
all
loans,
others, you have to go to the bank already.
Because the banks are resellers.
The banks are
Okay.
They are could do it
Okay.
agents. So they process the loan, they check the credit status of the individual, and then we finance the loan through the...
And kanina pinag-uusapan natin, compared to a bank, mas mabilis makakuha ng loan sa SSS. How fast can you get approved and then actually receive the proceeds of the loan?
For a regular housing loan, meaning other than the OFW and what was that? I was saying the one for trade union, and house repair. These are the ones directly processed by SSS. Normally, it takes probably for a fast of 2 weeks to about a month.
2 weeks
because
to a month.
we check the house, the status of the property that will be mortgaged, and then malinis ba yung title? We have to validate with
with the register of
LRA,
deeds.
So it takes a little longer.
So it takes quite a while compared
What
to the
about
salary,
a salary loan?
The salary loans relatively fast
Tapos
because
nasa record yun na yun.
Mga how many,
you'll
how
be
many weeks or
surprised.
days po?
For salary loans, we have a fast of 1 day.
Wow,
meaning
1 day.
You file it in the morning,
Okay.
it gets, because it's a batch process, it gets...
I'll take a loan na tomorrow.
sige, as long as you're up to date with your payments.
So
that should
it
not
can
be a
get
problem.
released
But
on
you have
that
to get
same
your
day.
ID.
I have to get my ID. Yeah.
Pero on the same day, kayang ma-release din.
Yeah.
Wow,
But
that's
what
really
happens
fast.
is it's an end of day batch process. So
okay.
it gets finished by the end of the day. So it's ready for mailing already
So for the,
tomorrow.
now, I'm curious about what you mentioned earlier, and I think this is quite important to our televiewers, those who are watching, about educational loan. Because you were saying about salary loans that some people use for tuition, but you also have educational loans, which are totally different, right?
This is interesting because like couple of, was it 2012?
Yep.
We got funding from the national government. They gave us 3.5 billion.
Billion, wow.
And then SSS matched also another 3.5 billion. So it was a total of 7 billion that will allow our members to finance the educational requirements of their children. So what is interesting, you have a member can go up to 2 members in the family. So pwedeng siya, including the member himself, if he wants to go back to school, no? So he can finance his children or spouse. So it can be a 4-year course.
So even a master's program?
Hindi na.
Hindi na. So up to
4-year
college
course.
lang.
And then, if the member is single, he can get his siblings. Or even parents, for that matter. Kasi ito yung mga dependents sa kanya.
Ano po yung maximum amount?
Okay,
Is there one?
actually there's no maximum, but you can go up to 30,000 yata per semester.
Okay. So you can go to really
And
expensive
what's interesting pa is that you can pay, the terms are for payable in 5 years, meaning
so after the
you can
course,
actually complete the course already.
Yes. So when you start to have a job, saka na
That's
mo
why.
na
Or
bayaran.
even the children can help him pay off the loan already in the future.
That's a good loan, no?
All right. So we have some more questions, if you don't mind me. No?
Sure, sure.
Karil asked us, my father died August 5th, 2000, and since then, my mother has been getting her SSS pension.
That's right.
But it stopped in 2005. Now, as per SSS, we can claim all unclaimed pensions from 2005 until present for her. However, we also know that we should also be getting benefits from my dad before. Now, I am now 25 years old and never got a chance to claim any pension or death benefit from my dad's death. Is it possible to still claim it?
Parang hindi na siya loan question.
Oh,
no?
Sometimes you cannot avoid already questions like this on the benefits
Since
of
we were already
members.
talking about SSS.
Okay, first of all, I'm wondering how come the pension stopped in 2005. We also introduced a program, what we call annual confirmation of pensioners. But the intention there is to make sure that the beneficiary or the pensioner is still alive. Kasi sometimes, namatay na, they do not declare, and then the pension gets to continue in the bank. So the intention there is to make sure that in this case, his mom is still alive, no? And then siya, if it was way back 2000 pa when his father died, so that's like a good 13 years before, he should have been getting a pension that's 10% of his mother's pension. That should be included on a month-to-month basis. So until he turned 21, he's entitled to a pension. We will just have to go to SSS and declare that he was a dependent of his father at the time and show the birth certificate, proof that he's really the son of the pensioner.
Okay.
I see.
And now let's go back to the topic of loans. Edward is asking, I applied for a loan in 2002, which I have been paying with my previous company. I am now in a new company, and in 2012, I applied for another loan, but it was declined by the SSS because it turned out that my payments before were not accounted for. Is there a way to know if we are updated with our payments? Because as far as I know, I have paid all my loans.
Good question. I mentioned already about the website that we have. So he can apply with the website so that he can check.
He can put his SSS
He can put his
number.
SSS number. He can, or he can call up our call center.
What is the website, by the way?
www.sss.gov.ph.
Okay.
So he can also check with our call center. It is 917-7777.
Okay, very easy to remember.
So he can check whether his payments have been posted. Now, in the case that it was not posted for some reason, either because of his employer or how would you call it? There were problems with the SSS because it also happens. Sometimes they have been misposted to another individual because either there was a erroneous SSS number or whatever for whatever reason. He can go to SSS and then have this reconciled.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, Blasida naman asked us, I used to be a private employee paying my SSS contributions. Then I worked as a government employee. Thus, I was paying for GSIS naman. Now I'm self-employed. What will happen to my SSS and GSIS contributions?
Good question. Okay. If she's now with GSIS, she can actually continue paying on a voluntary basis. So when she turns 60 or 65, she will be entitled to both pensions. Now, if it can happen that she was not able to complete her SSS, because you have to have at least 10 years payment to entitle you to a lifetime pension on retirement. GSIS requires 15 years. So it may happen that you were not able to complete both, meaning you're short of the 10 at SSS and short of the 15. We have what we call the portability law. That you can combine contributions.
Oh, okay.
And is that applicable for loans as well? Kung gusto niyang umutang, should he go to
hindi,
SSS?
no, that's for retirement purposes.
So kung utang naman, kung short yung number of contributions niya for a loan sa SSS and GSIS, talagang hindi siya qualify for both.
He can't combine that.
You cannot combine that because it's a privilege.
Okay.
But the one for benefits, like it's a retirement is a benefit, so you're entitled.
So you have to be careful. And then Deej sent us this question: how does the SSS compute maternity loans? I'm already 1 month pregnant and would like to apply for a maternity loan to use for my hospitalizations when I do give birth. I have consulted with some friends and colleagues and they gave me different answers. Some said that they only received half of their loans because of company policies. Some received their loans a week before their maternity leave, while others were given their loans in full amount and in advance. What is SSS policy on maternity loans?
Okay, I want to correct the impression that it's a maternity loan. It is a maternity benefit.
Okay.
So
it's not a loan.
It's not a loan. So you have to have at least 3 months contribution to entitle her to a maternity loan, but the company will have to certify that they do not give maternity loans, because it's supposed to supplement the maternity benefits that the company gives.
So is the consequence of that na hindi nila kailangan bayaran when they receive this amount because it's a benefit?
Yeah. So what will happen is that we will still give it as long as they qualify with the number of months. And then
it's not, they don't have to repay it.
No.
Tapos pag kulang tong maternity benefit, what they have to do is get the salary loan.
That's right.
Oh, baka inisip na
they'll have to repay. Pang-hospital.
They'll have to repay it. No, it's not, folks, it's not a it's not a loan.
You do not repay
it's a benefit.
the maternity.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Now, Chris is asking naman, in cases where the company is not paying the SSS salary loan on time, is the member going to be marked as a delinquent payer, even if it is stated in my payslip that payments were made? I checked my SSS account online and it says that no payment was made ever.
Yes. Yeah. In that case, they just have to go to SSS and show proof that the payments were deducted from his payment slip.
Yeah.
And then we will run after the employer.
Yeah.
But it looks like the problem is they can't get the loan approval until the employer pays back.
That's right.
Yung
That's right.
mga
unfortunately,
backlog ng contributions.
Unfortunately, yes, he will be declared as delinquent even if.
But he can claim that. No, he can claim that the employer should pay it.
He can claim that eventually.
So that he can then get the loans.
Madadelay lang yung pagkuha niya.
Madadelay lang yung loan niya. Yes. All right. Naku, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for tonight. We were talking about it, May. Time really does fly when you're having fun. We'd like to thank our guest, Ms. May Catherine Siriaco, Vice President and Officer in Charge of Lending and Asset Management Division of SSS, for joining us tonight. I'm Attorney Rod Nepomuceno.
And I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. Join us again next Monday as we discuss your legal rights. Good night.